Maybe I'm back. I don't know. Not sure what's happening. All right. Well, this is take 2. Anyway, I'll move upstairs if this goes bad again. But long story short, last night, actually, I'm not even going to do long story short. I'm going to keep talking. Last night, I opened up my novel, and I have a date written on my novel. Like the way that I save files, I put dates at the end, year, month, day. Because I'm always like saving a new version after a major part has been done, or just when I feel like, oh, I need to probably give another name for it. And that saves me from losing stuff. And I go back sometimes and I go, oh, what did I change? And on top of that, Google will save like 100 copies. So it's really nice. So I have 100 copies of multiple, thousands of copies, versions I can go back to. And I really enjoyed writing last night. I wrote for like an hour and a half, and it's really enjoyable. And it's been weighing on my heart that I hadn't finished this novel, and I'll wake up like with ideas to put in the novel, or I'll just I'll have a flash of inspiration, like, oh yeah, that would improve it. Because the one thing I've been really worried about is how AI has affected my novel. But I have a way out around it. I have a way to fix it and make it really, really good. So I made a decision last night, after reflecting on how fun it was to do my novel, and all of the things that it had conspired. Conspired, is that the right word? Transpired with Mr. Komachi, my friend. And I decided I'm not going to do daily streams anymore. For the sole reason that it's such a miracle in my life that I wake up every morning to do these live streams. So it's established a pattern of me waking up at 8 in the morning. I wake up, I come downstairs, I take a shower, I get a coffee, pet the cat. And I've been doing these live streams, and they're fun. Now, my original thought was, I'll just stop live streaming. And then I thought, but I like live streaming. I do. I really like it. Like, it's therapeutic for me to do live streaming. And I do enjoy, the reading of the books and whatnot. So I thought, okay, a more measured approach would be better. So, I don't know. I was thinking, I'll do live streams on Fridays, and then maybe that would mean we could do Monday morning, we could do a Shimewaza review show or something like that, But in the end, I think I'm going to commit to a Friday show, but there'll be times where, because I enjoy, it's like playing a video game. I don't really play a lot of video games, but sometimes I play, but I like streaming more than that. I enjoy streams. It's a way to talk to someone that's not my family, Well, that sounded mean. Shouldn't I say we're all family? But yeah, so that's it. That's my measured approach. I'm going to take the time in the morning and finish my novel, because that's been one of those things for a long time that I wanted. And when I opened that file on my novel yesterday, I noticed that the date that I had put on there was October of last year, which means I haven't resaved it in a long time. So I resaved it as yesterday, and I thought, okay, this has to be finished and out soon. Like, I finished it already. I finished it. Do you understand? Like, I wrote the whole thing, draft 1, and then I went through and rewrote up to like chapter 55 of 88 chapters. So it was so close, so close. And last night when I went through chapter 1 again and I was rewriting, I was like, okay, I'm barely doing rewrites. This is solid. I'm enjoying it. And I'm enjoying, I want you to imagine you have an almost complete puzzle in front. And you're like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah. Just put that right there. Oh, that's even better. Yeah. And that's what I want to do. I want to take the few miracles. Yeah. Okay. One, I've never had a schedule when I'm not interpreting. You know, when I was interpreting, I had schedules, but then I was, you know, in the car getting McDonald's, heading to an interpreting job for 8 hours. But now I get up at 8 every single day. So I can get up and I can write when my brain is as fresh as possible and finish my novel and not die with regrets that are slowly building. Because if I got sick tomorrow, like Mr. Fukumachi did, and was in the hospital, all of a sudden I would have way more regrets that I could have not had because I don't have a clinic that I have to go to every day. I don't have customers or patients to attend to at that clinic like he did. And I don't have that sense of obligation towards the clinic like he did, which prevented him from stopping work, even though he had all the money he needed. I don't have any sense of obligation like that. So I don't want to, I want to finish my novel. The one thing that I've never, that I've always wanted, but I never have done, like, you need to understand, textbooks was a complete not planned object for me. When I was in 5th grade, I read Judy Blume and decided then I wanted to write books. Judy Blume was amazing for me. I even watched a master class on hers a few years back over on Masterclass. And she's phenomenal. Like, she's a hero of mine. Judy Blume's such a great author. I had read, was it Dear God, Are You There? It's Me, Margaret, I think was the name of the book. Maybe her books were for girls, I don't know, but I really enjoyed it. And I wanted to write. Always I wanted to write, but I never did. And it's only been like the last 5-6 years that I even like wrote a lot. And I wrote a lot. Since then, I wrote quite a bit, but I could do more with this schedule that I'm on. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, Glaceon, I'm not going to lie, I thought about you. Thought about how you're here every morning. You know. By the way, these bags under my eyes. Not because I'm crying or sad. It's just natural aging. I probably need to like do this every moment. They would go away. I thought about you and I thought, well, Jesus, you know, this guy likes coming here and I know that the live streams have meaning to some people. So I'll keep doing them, just not every morning. We'll come in every Friday at a minimum. And maybe other times I'll come in and I'll do them. But, you know, to be frank, I don't make any money doing this. It's pure pleasure that I do this. So but there's a balance I need to take, right? I've got to, the money was nothing. Money, you know, I don't hate talking about money, but it seems shallow when people talk about money. And I think that's why I steer away from it. But money, Jesus, this song is a little bit too dramatic for this part. Hang on. Let's move on. There we go. There we go. It's much more jovial. Yeah. But the thing is, the reality is, you know, I have a business that I run and I can't write the novel. If I'm doing these live streams in the morning, I have a hard time finding the time to write the novel at another time because I got a business to run, which is the only thing that I pay my bills with, right? Because, you know, my entire family relies on us making money. So I can't throw that away, right? So what do I throw away? The live streams. They say you're funny. CHF fan says, so the novel is different than the Japanese novel. No, it is different, yeah. There's a novel, okay, listen, I started, it was July of last year. So a year and a half ago. I was talking to a guy on Discord whose name was, he likes to watch, or he likes to listen to Square Enix music. He's a huge fan of Square Enix music, this guy. And he had a problem with his account or some issue, and he messaged me on Discord, you know, through Japanese from Zero or Yes Japaner. He got me and he talked to me and I solved his problem. And then I noticed on his username, he had one of those messages and it said, you know, I stopped writing for a year, but now I'm going to go back to it or something like that. I was like, oh, this guy's a writer like me. you know, and my writing that I've released is all on Tissue Box channel. That's pretty much where I've put anything. So I had written all of that Tissue Box stuff, and I was like, oh, that's cool, another writer. And I was, I had started writing, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. I had started writing a novel called 5555, which is a adventure novel. It started out for children, but I don't know what it's going to be. If I'll even ever finish it, I might be over the idea. Anyway, so I saw that, I started talking to him, and I found out that he reviews a lot of. He was on a fiction server or something like that on Discord, and he was doing a bunch of review of books. And I was like, dude, would you mind looking at something I wrote? So I sent him something from Tissue Box channel, and I can't remember what it was. It was either this one called Now Mountain, where it's this mountain that's been created for people to go and live life in the moment. It's called Now Mountain. And the mountain is this big mountain range in the desert somewhere, and it's on a moving track. And what'll happen is you book your time there, and they have a house gets built, right? Whether, I don't know who builds it, maybe it's robots, whoever, doesn't even matter, but it's the future, right? So maybe. And they build this beautiful house, it's overlooking a lake. You go there, but to get there, it's very treacherous. And you're not allowed to have any cell phones, no recording devices. It's all in the moment, treacherous. You could die on the way to this place, to this cabin. And on the way to the cabin, you know, we learn about, it's a very short story, okay? We learn about the son, the daughter, and the husband. But where's the wife? We don't know. We get to the cabin, they dive into the water, you know, at the lake, they dive in, they're having a blast. The way that the lake has been engineered, there's some way that they can breathe underwater. I don't remember how I thought of that at the moment. Micro bubbles with oxygen. I don't know, but they can be in the water for extended times underneath and just have great memories. And slowly throughout that day, the mountain range, which is on rails, these massive rails, is just rotating and getting crushed and recycled. The whole thing is getting crushed and recycled. And they've swum onto an island, and they watch the house as it just crumbles. And basically, it's a way to remember their dead mother, to have a moment. And I can't remember how I ended the story, but it's something like that. I think I sent him that. And he came back with some feedback, and it was good. And he's like, you know, he talked about zooming into a story and zooming out from the story and how important that is. And he just had some really good advice. And then I started riffing with him back and forth on his name, which was, because he likes Square Enix, his name was like in Japanese, it was like Slave to Square or something like that. Square's Slave. And I asked him about that, and that's when I found out about the music that he likes. And I wrote a whole like 2.5 pages of George always wondered where Square got his name, so he asked. And I wrote like that kind of a dialogue between Square and George. George was just me, Square was just him. And then I kept going back, kept adding to it. And it was fun for me. It was super fun. I was like really enjoying like adding. They went to like a taco shop, you know, and they're having this argument back and forth about fate. Like, I don't know, it was just a fun thing. And then I was like, you know what? I want to know what happens to these characters, Square and George, because at the end of there was a fight scene at the taco shop that I had written in. Keep in mind, all for bullshit on Discord. I just wrote it for fun. But I was like, at the end of the fight, they're in an alleyway, they're running away. And George has this plan to escape. And Square, who's this rich guy, is just enjoying the moment of the whole thing, right? But at the end, George is like, you head to the airport, then we'll go to the bus stop. He's got this plan. And then he goes, and then we'll meet back at my place. And that was the question I wanted answered. Would Square go to George's place? Does Square know where George lived? Where does George live? I didn't know these things. So I took that whole thing and I popped it into a Word doc, and I just started adding to it. And then I wrote some backstory, and I started adding characters. And it was the funnest thing I ever did. And I put the story in San Diego, okay? It's in San Diego. And the name of the story is Life Squared. Life Squared, right? Playing on the name Square. And I wrote this, I built, it's in the future. So I was able to build up the town in a slightly different way. I built brand new laws. I had a constitutional amendment take place in the book just to make the story have more plausible shit happening, right? And then you know what I did that was so amazing? I can't even explain to you how amazing it was. I went to San Diego after I had written maybe half the book. I went to, because I was up on Google Earth. I was like some of the locations in there are actual places that exist even today. And the places that there's this building, this huge building that I built in San Diego in the story. And it's on the spot where this theater is now called the Balboa Theater. So I stood in front of the Balboa Theater on that block, guys, and I looked, and I remember I was recording it, and I was like, oh my God. I was shaking, like excited, like I felt like a traveler from the future that I came back. And I remember I was with my wife, and it's the stupidest thing, but my brain had written all of that stuff, and it had become real to me. And I'm like, oh my God, they haven't built the building yet. Like, this is where it's gonna be. They're gonna tear that right down right there. And that building is going to be right here. I was so excited. And then I drove around town, got familiar with the location, found out where the main character lives. I have it all envisioned out. There's a place where he volunteers at. I found that place. And I found out this new place that I didn't know existed called Little Italy. And I wrote a bunch of scenes for that eventually. And I went to this place called the Whiskey House in San Diego, which is a main part of the story, the Whiskey House. But I had like built it up. I had built it up to this thing. I had only seen like 2 or 3 pictures of the Whiskey House, and I sat inside the Whiskey House and I thought, this is amazing. I'm here. And there's a hallway here that I didn't know about. Wow, and there's a whole separate room back here that I didn't know about, which is big in the story now. And I can't tell you the joy, the pure bliss and joy I had living in my set, that I wrote. And I'm a seat of the pantser writer. I've learned what that is. It's called it's called a pantser. It's someone that, there's some people that have to write like a complete outline of their story. This is where it happens in Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. This is the inciting incident. And they have, and these are the character flaws. And they have the Bible of their characters. No, I just write. I just let it flow. So when I'm writing, it's like, I want you to just imagine. I'm writing. I don't have where's my typing? I don't need to, just imagine the typing sound, okay? I'm writing. And then I go, oh no, he did not say it. Oh no. And I get chills at my own writing. Just like, I'm so excited that came out. And the whole time I was writing this story, like, it was just like amazing learning who these characters were. And you know what was even more exciting? The rewrite. Once I knew the ending, once I knew all of the things that had happened to these characters, to go back and see, oh no, George would never say that. No, that's not the tone of Square. He wouldn't say that. And then the characters are talking to me saying, this is what I would say. And it's just coming out of my fingertips. That's what it is. It's such an amazing thing, but it sat on my hard drive for 1.5 years now, almost, right? Or 1 year and 2 months, undone. I'm bummed out because it only took me 2 weeks or 2 months, to get the first draft. So I want to finish it, and that's what I'm going to do. And then I don't know how I'm going to release it. Obviously, I've self-published every other book I've had, so I'll self-publish it. I'll put it out, but I've also toyed with the idea of just putting it out there for free. The first draft version of it is up on Tissue Box channel, like 6 or 7 chapters. They've already changed a little bit. It's not exactly the same stuff anymore, but I read it. It's like an audiobook. So if you're curious as to what I wrote, go listen to it. But even yesterday, I feel like I improved it just a bit, This is AI choosing the right background music. No, this is me making a playlist on Spotify called Chill Piano, and only using those songs except it's on random. So I don't think it's AI because I didn't allow that option. Protodust Machine says, thank you, George, for all of your work over the years. You're an inspiration to me, and I don't think I would know nearly as much Japanese as I do today without your consistency over the years. What's funny, Protodust Machine, is I'm the least consistent person you'll ever know. I'm only consistent over the lens of time because look at the release dates of some of those videos. I can go easily a year without releasing a video, but you coming in, 7 years after my first video, was it 7 years? 7 years after that first video. The first video is actually in 1998, 1999. I made my first videos teaching Japanese, but the first Japanese from Zero series, which is the biggest thing that I ever did for videos, that's 7 years ago. Over the lens of time, it looks like I just slammed through them. No, I go months and months and months without doing anything. I should have been done a long time ago. That's another thing. I have got to finish that series. I can't get to, look, I'm 51. I could literally I could be in decline. Let's get this thing going. Come on. Got to get my walking in while we're talking about health and stuff like that. Anyway, I could be in decline at any moment. And I'll be like, fuck, I didn't do my novel. Or you know what, for that matter, Kanji from Zero book 3, 4, and 5. Jesus Christ, when am I going to finish those? Those are huge on me. I have no obligation to do Japanese from Zero 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 like I've threatened. But I certainly could do Kanji from Zero 3, which is literally so much done. Like, not as much as my revisions of book 2, but revisions are not as important. I'm going to put those on a hold. I'm lagging. Yeah, I had some dropped frames, guys. I don't know what's happening with this setup down here. Yeah. Well, Glaceon, I had a whole 3 seasons mapped out for Japan Storytime, but it just didn't get the views. It's not worth my effort. Not right now. I don't have I had a really cool story arc for that story. Like, I can't tell you how excited I was. I thought, oh wow, I'm blending Tissue Box Channel, one of my passions, with the thing that makes money, Japanese. And I'm really going to enjoy the hell out of it. And guess what? No one cared. No one really cared. Not enough people cared. How about that? It wasn't enough to move the needle for me. You could argue, oh, if you finish the story, maybe. And maybe one day I will, but it's a lot of work.